Hello, this is Jay from Jay's Politics Podcast. You're listening to the Podcast 99 Internet Radio Network on podcast99.org.
Buy with Rob is your best choice when purchasing your new home in the Puget Sound area. Call 360-710-9425 today and get started on the best home buying experience you will ever have. Go to buywithrob.com today.
Hello?
Podcasts are verbal narcissism for ugly journalists.
Hello, can I talk to Mr. David? Dave Bowman?
Approach and identify.
Hello?
Man, battle station's missile. Chief of Watch, sound the general alarm.
From the Buy with Rob studio, located in beautiful Silverdale, Washington, this is the Dave Bowman Show. Now, here is your submarine qualified, well-coffeed, stuffy, elitist history buff host, Dave Bowman.
Plymouth County has pushed this fire. Initiating fire. Initiating fire.
Well, good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, wherever you are, whatever you do. A lot of things happening in the world today. Most of them are far beyond our control, you might say. So perhaps it's time we took a pause and thought about life and thought about the laws of gravity, mail bombs, Halloweening, spies, spammers, sodas, politics, and or the news. Don't touch that dial. Just try to hear me out for a while. Well, this is one of those days where all the show prep just goes out the window and talk about what's happening in New York City this morning. If we have time, we'll get into what I plan to talk about, which is spamming, spies, and sodas. But who knows? We may or may not have time to get there. I assume that we will, because we don't know nothing yet. At this point, it's just speculation. Well, there's a few facts, but not many. Here's how you get a hold of me. The text machine is area code 209-565-DAVE. That's 565-3283. The email remains dave@thedavebowmanshow.com. And, of course, we're on the web. Just look for The Dave Bowman Show on Facebook, Twitter, iTunes, and, of course, using your favorite non-denominational web search browser, you can go to thedavebowmanshow.com, as well as podcast99.org. A loqui conitio. Greatest enemy of knowledge is not ignorance. It is the illusion of knowledge. So, in case you've been under a rock this morning or whatever, maybe you're on vacation, I don't know. Suspicious packages spent to Time Warner Center, Clinton, and Obama residents, and now we have later reports of more coming in, both in California and Florida. This has already been labeled, referred to by officials in New York City as a terrorist attack. It is being treated as such, which, of course, I mean, I don't know that you can really argue about that. It's clearly an attempt to terrorize somebody, so it must be a terrorist attack, and insofar as that goes, I don't really have much of an argument with that. But there are some weird things happening with this already, and I'm not your conspiracy theorist. I've already seen on social media the people who are already explaining to me that this is a false flag attack. You can look it up on the internet. It's false flag. This is just an attempt by the Democrats to generate sympathy. You can already find that. And depending on who you follow on social media, which is what we were supposed to be talking about today, is our insane social media followings. Depending on who you follow, that's where you're already at. I mean, it must be a fake flag attack. It must be this. It must be that. There are some things about this, though, even though I am not a conspiracy theorist, there's some things about this that really bother me already. You know, I watch stuff like this happen all the time, and I wonder about it. It's I think it was the mayor of New York City said this is not the first time. He informed us that, in fact, it was 25 years ago, 35 years, how long ago? 93, that the World Trade Center was first attacked. And so we've been putting up with this for a long time. I guess he forgot about the Wall Street bombings by the anarchists back in the 1920s. But then again, his dad wasn't the mayor then, or the governor then, so maybe he don't know nothing about that. Bombings have been a staple of the American terrorist since the anarchist era. And there was a time, I had an article a few weeks ago, it was a fascinating article, about the late 60s, early 70s here in the United States, where bombings were so common that they didn't even make the news anymore. People were tired of it. People were bored with it because that was the anarchists, these SDS, Students for a Democrat Society. That was their modus operandi. They'd bomb stuff. They'd send mail bombs and stuff like that. And it became almost a joke. Oh, another bomb. What are they mad about now? So only going back to 93 is a little, sad. I mean, it doesn't say he knows much about not only history of America, but history of his own city. But be that as it may, nobody would be surprised if more devices showed up somewhere else. I mean, we've already, within the last 20 minutes, we've learned that there's one in San Diego. I'm unclear about this one in Florida because the initial reports were that the return mail address on the devices sent to Obama, Clinton, and CNN were Debbie Wasserman Schultz's offices in Florida. Now, within the last 5 minutes, they're reporting that there is a device at the offices of Debbie Wasserman Schultz. And again, it's hard, it's information coming and going, and you have to try to assimilate all this. And of course, you're dealing with networks that are trying to put out to be the first to put out something. And so sometimes it gets a little screwy. Last night was a great example of this, completely unrelated in the sports world. The Denver Broncos backup quarterback was arrested. I guess it wasn't last night, it was the night before last or whatever, but he was arrested for trespassing. And the initial reports said that he was at a cocaine party being thrown by his teammate Von Miller, who was an all-star Super Bowl MVP. And everybody kind of looked at that and went, what? A cocaine party being thrown by an NFL player? Something's not right there. Well, of course, it turns out that it was a cowboy-themed party because Von Miller is something of a Western cowboy guy. And they just wanted to get that story out there really quick, so they went with cocaine, and this is the same kind of thing. Something that just comes across the ticker saying, this is this. I don't know if I believe it or not. So this device down in Florida has got me a little flummoxed right now, because again, the initial reports were that the return address were the offices of Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Now, that doesn't mean anything. When you send a package in the mail, you can write whatever return address on it you want. In fact, one of the old tricks back in the days was Grandpa Dave talking again here, kids. One of the tricks in the old days was you could send something, not put enough postage on it, but put the return address as the same address you wanted it to go to. So when they returned it for postage, they would return it to wherever you wanted it to go in the first place. Not saying I ever did that. Just saying that it was one of the tricks you could do, and you could put return addresses on whatever. And the modern version of that, which is something else we were supposed to be talking about today, spamming, which is to steal your address, your email address. You'll get an email from somebody you think you know, Dave@thedavebowmanshow.com, but it's complete spam. There's nothing in it. It's unrelated, and I didn't send it. They're just hijacking your address as the return address to use it. That can be done very simply. So I don't put a whole lot of stock in that, other than maybe whoever sent it thought that people would be stupid enough to go, oh, look, they've sent it from Debbie Wasserman Schultz, which is, I mean, I don't know anybody other than AJ that would actually believe that. And really, if she was dumb enough to do that, why would she put her own address on it? So, I mean, that throws out the window. But there are things about this that really cause me to scratch my head. And you as well. I'm sure. I'm hoping other people are having the same confusion that I'm having. I don't know that you are, but I'm hoping that you are. And that is very simply this. If I go to the airport, let's say I'm going to fly from Seattle, Tacoma to, I don't know, pick a spot, Casper International in Wyoming, because we all know I love Wyoming. So if I was going to fly, I would go to the counter there, and I would have my bag with me. And the first thing they would ask me is, did anyone else pack your bag? Does anybody else had possession of your bag? Has anybody else done this? And I would say, of course, no. Of course I packed my bag. Nobody else has had it. And then they would take my bag from it. They put it on a little thing that goes around and around and around, and they x-ray and scan my bags. And when I go through the security gate, I have to hand them basically everything I own so that they can run it through that little X-ray machine thing, look at it and see if there's anything suspicious in there, right? Before they let me get on the airplane, they do all of this. So we do all that, then I get on the airplane, I fly to Casper International Airport, I enjoy my time in Wyoming, and then I reverse process the whole thing to get back. And presumably I've done so safely, and so forth and so on. How is it that these packages got delivered? That's what I'm wondering. Am I really supposed to believe that the United States Postal Service, the United Parcel Service, whom once upon a time I worked for a while, it was a great job, I enjoyed it, and FedEx and whoever else, the DHL and whoever else there is that might have delivered these packages, and we're told they came through the mail. These were not hand delivered. How is it that none of those... And then in the mailroom, they looked at the package and went, oh, that's suspicious. How come the United States Postal Service, the United Parcel Service, FedEx, DHL, whoever else didn't notice anything about these packages being suspicious? If a mailroom clerk can look at it and go, well, there's something suspicious about this package, how is it that somebody working in professional mail delivery didn't notice the same thing? Or at least something to cause them to go, we heard this morning that the Secret Service has intercepted other packages prior to them being delivered because apparently these organizations noticed that and said something and went on their way. I'm just, there's something here that's off to me, and I don't know what it is. I don't know why nobody in the delivery system is seeming to notice this before they get delivered. Also, it's odd to me, and maybe I'm just, I don't know, maybe I'm just looking for something to be suspicious of here, but it's odd to me that none of these devices detonated. None of them. Now, I'm not wishing for that to have happened. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is it weird to anybody else that we have at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 packages that are supposedly bombs? Well, one of them, I guess, was a white powder of some kind. And not one of them has detonated? I don't know. There's just a lot there that seems odd to me, and watching the reaction around the country has been, it's wall-to-wall news now. Khashoggi, who's he? Migrant caravan, what's that? Weather, hurricanes, what are those? We got 6 mail bombs here, maybe, that didn't detonate in a country that once upon a time used to have multiples of these going off every single day. In fact, it became so common that the news didn't even cover it anymore at one point in our history. Now, as the governor of Maryland, New York, why did I say Maryland? Governor of New York has just said, my daddy used to be the governor of the state, and now I'm the governor of the state, and this is the world we live in. This is the world that we live in. We live in a world where people don't like each other and consequently send mail bombs to each other. There's a lot of people that don't like me. There's a lot of people I don't like. I've never sent a mail bomb to anybody, and quite frankly, I never have any intention of doing so. It isn't something that would occur to me to go, yeah, I don't like that guy, I should send him a mail bomb. In today's world, send a flame email, right? Send an email that says, hey, you're an asshat, and kind of leave it at that. Or a 140 characters zinger on Twitter. That's the way civilized people handle this, correct? If you don't like somebody, I don't know. There's just something to this, and again, we don't have any facts, we don't have any information right now, except that we have a number of devices that did not detonate, that were discovered in mailrooms, not by the mail delivery systems, not by the United States Postal Service, not by United Parcel, not by FedEx, not by DHL, not by Global, not by whomever was carrying the package. They didn't notice anything about it, but the mailrooms did. And that alone causes me to be oogie about it. Because again, if I fly in an airplane, you damn right, the airlines and the TSA are looking at my package before it gets on that airplane, aren't they? Does the United States Postal Service not have the same kind of capabilities? Do they not look at packages that go through their service? Something's odd there. Something is strange. And again, we may find out later on that there's a rational explanation for it. There might be some reasonable explanation for it. Dave, they don't do this because of this, or that, or they do it, but it doesn't look for this. And whoever sent these packages knew that. And so they built it a certain way that it wouldn't be detected. But I don't know. This is what, the second or third time in the last month we've seen white powder being mailed. You'd think they'd have a way of, I mean, there's something going on here that we're missing, some big piece of this puzzle. Now, we can speculate as to the purpose of all this. Clearly, it's politically motivated. Clearly, I mean, I don't think I'm telling any tales out of school here, right? Clearly, this is politics. Clearly, this is intended to send a political message, whatever that message might be. In Florida yesterday, they had robocalls going out. They had robocalls going out in Florida from Idaho yesterday about the gubernatorial election in Florida. And if you were not aware of this, one of the candidates running for governor of the state of Florida happens to be African American. And so this robocall from Idaho simulated the old Amos and Andy radio show as if some of the things that were said in this were so despicable that you know, I don't have a lot of standards, but I'm not going to repeat them. But it was basically playing on the racial elements of this, and it was being made by a white supremacist organization in Idaho. But why does anybody in Idaho give a rat's behind who the governor of the state of Florida is? Some of the things they had to say in that, by the way, were dealt with the race of the candidate as well as those who support him. And this kind of thing is happening. This sort of thing is bizarre in my opinion, but it does happen, and I think we have to acknowledge that. And so when we look at these bombs that didn't detonate, so they're not explosive, we got to kind of conclude that there's a political element to this. There's some political game here being played. What is that game? We have no idea. We do not know. Again, you can turn on your AM radio dial and get a talking head that no doubt will tell you exactly what he or she believes the purpose of this game was, but they don't know. I sure as hell don't know. You don't know. Nobody on TV seems to know. Nobody knows. The FBI doesn't even know yet. But I'm sure some talking head will tell you this is a false flag operation designed to generate sympathy for these people and blah, 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 blah. And at the end of the day, well, we still don't know. We got no idea. I mean, we obviously know it's political. Was it someone who hates these people sending them packages to try to kill them or injure them or send them a message of some sort? Or was it their own side sending them to themselves to make themselves look bad? Because that happens too. We don't know. What you believe about it probably says more about you than it does about anything else. But for me, just sitting here watching this, I don't know. I'm weirded out by the fact that nobody in the delivery system caught this. I'm weirded out by the fact that I can send a bomb through the United States Postal Service and it won't be discovered as a bomb until the people who receive it get it. And they look at it, untrained and completely unprofessional. They look at it and go, oh my God, there's something suspicious about this package. When all these professional mail handlers, from the person I gave the package to at the postal office down in Silverdale, all the way across the country to wherever, none of them noticed anything. None of them saw anything. None of them heard anything. None of them scanned anything. That's weird to me. That strikes me as strange. And I'm not sure, as I look at this, that's the one thing I'm pulling from this is clearly we have a weakness in our delivery system of mail because apparently nobody in the Postal Service, be that the USPS, DHL, UPS, FedEx, whomever, apparently no one of those people are paying attention. Right? I can draw on my own experience of working at UPS, and I did work at UPS. It was a great job. Let me tell you this right up front. If you're somebody who's thinking about working for a company and you don't know what company you want to work for or something, go to UPS, man. I was a package handler at UPS, which is it's the lowest of the low job. I mean, that's the entry level job. I took it because I was bored a couple of years ago and I wanted to make some extra money for Christmas. And it was a great job, let me tell you what. All I did all day long was a package would come down the conveyor and it would have a number on it. And there were 6 or 8 bins at the other end of the slider thing. And so I would yell the number, 3, and I would roll it down the thing, and the guy who was standing at number 3 would catch it and put it in his bin. It was great. It was fantastic. I loved that job. I really did. And I liked working for that guy. It was a good company. But I do notice now that I'm thinking back at it, they never told us to look for anything suspicious on the package. They never told us to look at the addressing or the writing or wire. I mean, I guess because of my background, if I'd have seen something leaking or wire sticking out, I would have said something. But as a general rule of thumb, maybe I don't. And maybe that's the weak point. I'm assuming these packages get scanned or x-rayed before they get on an airplane, right? They would have to. Isn't that the new norm in our country since 9/11? Isn't that the way we do things since then? And apparently nobody noticed anything until they get there. And having been the recipient once upon a time of a suspicious package at my work, believe me, I can tell you the chaos that this causes. What's happening in New York is far beyond what happened to us. But, some guy dropped off a package. He didn't mail it. He dropped it off for John and I at the station. And it was oddly labeled and it looked weird. It was a normal box. I mean, it looked like a normal box, but because of some of the labeling on it, and it had a website on it, and that website's first, it was a blog-ish type website, and the first blog entry on that website had to do with, well, let's just call them marital aids, okay? And so the person who saw the package looked at that website, went inside, Googled up that website, saw this thing for marital aids and grenades, and immediately called the police because it was a suspicious package. Had it been me, I would have just picked it up. But they called the police, and Roger tried to kill us. Steve Stanfield would not come. Super Cop Steve Stanfield would not come to save John and I, and we literally had to do a lot of dancing. We were like 45 minutes late getting on the air that day because they had actually brought out the bomb robot. I've got video of that somewhere where the bomb robot goes up, they x-rayed the package, and because it was full of soup cans and candy in aluminum wrappers, well, this looks suspicious. Beef jerky wrappers. It was soup cans, pop bottles, candy, and beef jerky. And so they sent the robot up there and they ripped that thing apart. It was awesome. It was so cool. And of course, at the end of the day, it was just Roger trying to send us some goodies. I mean, that's all it was. But we learned a lesson that day about, suspicious packaging and blah, blah, blah. So I watch what's happening in New York City with somewhat of a nostalgic eye, remembering the day that somebody tried to kill me with a bomb. It was awesome. It really was. And it gave us something to talk about that day. As I remember, it was a pretty slow news day. But as it was, I'm watching what's happening here, and none of these things have detonated. And I'm weirded out. Summary, I'm weirded out by the fact that these things went all the way from wherever their point of origin was to the point of delivery, and nobody noticed a thing. Nobody x-rayed it. Nobody scanned it. Nobody shook it. Nobody did nothing. All these male professionals handling this, MAIL professionals handling this, and nobody noticed a thing until they got to their intended recipients, and then all of a sudden they're suspicious packages. And that freaks me out. It just kind of creeps me out, folks. It really does. I don't know what else to tell you at this point. It's political in nature. Who did it? We don't know. Why they did it? We don't know. We don't know nothing at this point. We don't know how many more there will be, but we suspect there will be plenty more, although I would have thought by now it is after well after 1 o'clock on the East Coast. I would have thought by now, and well after 10 here on the West Coast. So I would have thought by now we would notice, but then again, maybe some people don't do their mail till noon. I don't know. Anyway. Summarizing, somebody on the air is saying it's a false flag operation. Somebody else is screaming that it's, terrorism, and somebody else is saying we don't know what it is. Pick the one you like, because that's the one that's going to make you happy. That's the one that's going to tickle your ears and make you go, "Hey, look, I feel better now because I don't know. Somebody told me what I wanted to hear. So this story is now this story is now hours old. 1:25 p.m. Eastern Time update. Well, it was updated less than a minute ago. What did they update? Secret Service has not intercepted a suspicious package addressed to the White House. Spokesman says there are only 2 packages intercepted by the Secret Service, one addressed to Clinton and one to Obama. And there you go. So at the end of the day, they did not get one going to the White House, which is suspicious in and of itself, isn't it? Right? I mean, doesn't that prove that Trump himself probably packaged these things up and sent them on with Debbie Wasserman Schultz's email on it or return address on it? Doesn't that prove that? I'm sure to some people it does. I'm sure some people are already claiming that, as much as there are people who are claiming that this is all false flag operation. This is Democrats sending this stuff to make it seem like the Republicans are attacking them. I'm sure. Can you imagine how weak your position would have to be to actually even contemplate doing that? How insecure would you have to feel about your political goals if that was your solution was, we'll just send bombs to ourselves and blame it on the other side? Of course, we'll make sure the bombs don't go off, because if they were actual bombs, then people might get hurt, and we don't want that. Nobody wants that, right? I don't know, folks. I don't know. So there you go. There's an entire segment from a radio talk show host telling you that we don't know nothing. But there is one big thing that freaks me out about it, which is that nobody seems to catch this stuff, and that something's wrong there. That's the question I'd be asking. Why didn't somebody along the chain catch this? But what are you going to do? All right, it's 1:30. It's the Dave Bowman Show right here on the Podcast 99 Internet Radio Network. I survived my bombing. I suspect these people will survive this. Oh, that's a cool shot of a guy in a bomb suit going in. That's kind of cool. That's in Sunrise, Florida. Anyway, we were supposed to talk about spammers, spies, and soda. I don't know how much of that we're going to get to now, but we will soldier on nicely unless something happens in the next 4 minutes that changes our direction, right? In the meantime, stay with us. We'll be right back.
This is the Podcast 99 Internet Radio Network.
For the Podcast 99 Network, I'm Alex Ross with the news. President Trump and Vladimir Putin plan to meet in Paris next month amid a continuing dispute over a key nuclear arms treaty. The two leaders will meet during a series of World War I centenary commemorations, according to U.S. National Security Advisor John Bolton. Mr. Bolton was in Moscow this week to convey U.S. plans to withdraw from the 1987 Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty. Russia has denied U.S. claims that it has violated the treaty and warns that withdrawal is a dangerous step. NASA believes that it has fixed a malfunction with the Hubble telescope, which had threatened to limit the orbiting observatory's performance. Earlier this month, one of Hubble's gyros, which is needed to point the spacecraft, failed, forcing controllers to place the telescope in safe mode, where it operates with essential functions only. This was required because a backup gyro also malfunctioned when switched on. After executing a series of maneuvers meant to dislodge the gyros if they were physically blocked, the problem was resolved. A man whose excessive flatulence forced a police detective to cut his interrogation short has pleaded guilty to federal gun and drug charges. 25-year-old Sean Sykes Jr. entered the plea on Monday. The charges against him stem from a police traffic stop in September in Kansas City, Missouri, in which officers found a backpack filled with drugs and guns, and Sykes was a passenger in the vehicle. A detective reported that when asked for his address, Sykes leaned to one side of his chair and released a loud fart before answering. Court documents say that Sykes continued to be flatulent, and the detective was forced to quickly end the interview. And on this day in history, in 1945, less than 2 months after the end of World War II, the United Nations is formally established with the ratification of the United Nations Charter. For the Podcast 99 Network, I'm Alex Ross.
Imagine if I told you that an earthquake was going to hit tomorrow right where you live. That it would be 6.5 in magnitude with aftershocks occurring twice 25 minutes apart. You'd no doubt talk with your loved ones, and you'd make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you an earthquake will happen tomorrow. But what if it does? Shouldn't you have a plan? Visit mil.wa.gov/preparedness and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait, communicate. Brought to you by Washington EMD, FEMA, and the Ad Council.
It's called the Gong Heard Round the World.
You are a grand narrative just waiting to be written. You are the ultimate conduit of life's rhythm. You deserve the very best vision and the very best version of yourself. And we're here to bring it out of you. I truly am fired up today to be driving your bandwagon, to be your biggest fan, to be avidly you, your secret weapon in the war against your sense of self. You don't have to tell anyone we hang out. Oh, I love the idea of being your partner in crime, a tag team of two in unleashing your legendary, to optimize your outlook, to back the very best parts of you. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, to do whatever it takes to bring your own bold.
All Natural Being with Brian Brody here on IPMNation.com.
Welcome back to The Dog Show. Up next, we have Satchmo. Satchmo is a member of the Shelter Pet Group.
That's right, a group known especially for their couch-snuggling, ball-chasing, face-licking, and, of course, companionship. Now, let's see him in action.
Look how he makes eye contact with his person.
That's actually known as the treat stare.
How intuitive, and now he appears to be excitedly turning in circles.
Ah, the happy dance so common with this group.
But really, the best way to know an amazing shelter pet like Satchmo is to meet one.
Visit theshelterpetproject.org today. Adopt.
Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
What's up, Whitey?
Hey, Scotsman.
We're from the Ale Evangelist Show, and you are listening
to the Podcast 99 Internet Radio Network.
Radio Network.
You are listening to The Dave Bowman Show on the Podcast 99 Internet Radio Network.
Welcome back to Zy Dave. It's a Wednesday episode of The Big Show. You want to join us? Area code 209-565-DAVE is the text machine, 209-565-3283. Email is dave@thedavebowmanshow.com. And, of course, we're on Facebook and Twitter. Although I don't recommend Twitter. That gets people fired. So, our Twitter account is just a mirror of what goes on Facebook. So there you go. But if you're not a Facebook user, and seems like more and more people are not going to be anymore. There you go. And, of course, you can get us at thedavebowmanshow.com. We'll bring you to us, let you know what's going on in the big, wide, wonderful world, which is that nothing has changed in the last 4 minutes. We are awaiting remarks from Trump, Clinton, Obama, and presumably a whole bunch of other people that are tangentially related to this entire process. And, well, there you go. I mean, what else could there possibly be going on, right? What else could be happening in the big, wide, wonderful world? Oh, I know what it is. This story just blows me away. The United States Air Force still can't explain why it spent $1,280 on a coffee cup. You seen this? So the USAF up in the air, Junior Birdmen, they have a coffee cup that costs $1,280. Okay? So this coffee cup, you might, everybody's coming unglued. Congress is melting down over this. Why can't they explain this? Why can't they talk about this? What's going on here? What's happening? Why are they spending this much money on this coffee cup? Well, like most things, there is an explanation. It's not that they can't explain it. It's that, I don't know, the Congress people that are dealing with... Is that a picture of the bomb? Holy crap. The bomb has wires sticking out of it with a device attached to it that's got masking. There's no way somebody could look at that and not see it's a bomb. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stamps on it. It obviously went to the Postal Service. They're canceled. Nobody saw this, huh? Nobody saw that. Wow. Anyway. See, this is the part that freaks me out about this whole thing. Sorry, I know I'm in the middle of this discussion about the $1,200 coffee cup, but they just had a picture of the bomb. They just had a picture of one of the packages. It's like a manila envelope. I'm sorry, I can't feed my TV into this yet. I will be able to eventually. Not yet. It's a manila envelope with wires sticking out of it, attached to something that looks like one of those battery holders that's got round things on each end and a bunch of masking tape around it. Nobody noticed that, huh? Nobody in the Postal Service noticed this thing out. They just put it in the mail and went, okay, we'll send it on its way. We'll make it happen, Captain. See why I'm freaked out about it? See why I think something's bizarre here? More bizarre than this $1,280 hot cup? So that's the cup. For those of you who aren't, keeping up here. That is the United States Air Force's quote-unquote hot cup. That's what they refer to it as. As you see the hot cup there, you'll notice that it kind of looks like a bomb. It's got a metal cylinder. It's got a top on it with a handle. It's got a handle to the right. And then on the left-hand side, as you're looking at it, is a plug that plugs into the electrical system of the various aircraft involved here. Okay, so this thing plugs in there. It heats up whatever liquid's inside there. You unplug it, you carry it on your way, and I guess you push on that thing on the top there, and it opens up, and then you can sip and consume your coffee, or as it turns out, your hot soup that you might put in there, your hot chocolate that you might have put in there. It's all kinds of. There's all kinds of things, I guess, you could put in there that are liquids that you would want hot, right? Now, the problem is, as you're looking at that picture of that cup, is that black handle on the right. Not the thing at the top of the knob that you push down and lift it up. It's that black handle that kind of looks like the letter D sticking out from the right-hand side of the cup. That's the problem right there. That handle is, as it turns out, very fragile or very poorly constructed or something. And as happens to Air Force pilots and Air Force people on a fairly regular basis, apparently, they drop these cups. So they plug them in, wait however long it takes for it to heat up, unplug it, proceed to enjoy their hot beverage. And I guess they're not holding it by the handle because they drop these cups and it breaks that handle. You with me here now? Now that handle, as far as I can tell, does nothing except hold on to the cup. That's all it does. But you cannot order a replacement part for that handle, nor can you re-glue it back onto this thing, nor can you do any of that stuff. You have to replace the entire cup. And of course, the entire cup costs $1,280, even though, as far as I can tell, it would probably work without the handle. I'm not making this up, folks. This is what this thing does. And because you can't replace this handle right here, check. Because you can't replace that handle, you have to order an entirely new cup. And it appears that Air Force people are dropping these cups willy-nilly as if they are, inexpensive and cheap and, careless, I guess. I'm not trying to criticize Air Force people here, but what I'm saying is if more than one of these got dropped in a squadron, wouldn't somebody be saying something? Hey, don't drop your damn cup. Do something else. Hold it properly. Somebody's doing something wrong. Anyway, they're ordering these new cups. Well, the dumb part about this whole thing is, and the insane part of this whole shooting match here is that Congress is now having a meltdown over why the Air Force still can't explain why it spent $1,280 on a coffee cup. Well, of course the Air Force can explain it. I just explained it to you. You can't order a replacement part. You have to order the entire new cup. And the new cups are expensive. They cost $1,280 now in 2018. Back in the 1980s, when they first started using these cups, they were only $683. So in other words, the Air Force has been using this hot cup since the 1980s. I think the earliest reference I found was 1981. They've been using this hot cup on which the handles tend to break if you drop it for the better part of 40 years. And just now Congress is getting around to going, why are you doing this? Well, because we send these cargo planes on long flights that last 24 plus hours. And as it turns out, Air Force pilots and Air Force crewmen like to drink coffee or hot soup or hot chocolate or whatever. Right? So now all of a sudden it's an issue. Now all of a sudden, because, well, it's an election season, that's why, this is an issue. This is now the whole problem. And you get this idea here that this is just another congressional witch hunt is what this is. But at the same time, you wonder. All right, why the Air Force, by the way, has put out a thing talking about the fact that they are going to they are developing a 3D printer to allow them to replace the handle instead of the entire cup. Well, that's good, right? That's intelligent. That's using your noggin. Sorry, I had to lean back there for a minute because I wanted to do something here. So I know we're bouncing back and forth between issues. That's the bomb right there. Can you see that? That's the package with the bomb attached to it. And nobody noticed this. Nobody saw it. Nobody in the entire system. I'm sorry, my hand is shaking, so my blood sugar's probably down a little bit. But nobody saw this. Nobody picked that up. Nobody saw that going through the freaking mail system. Nobody had a clue that was something suspicious. Nobody said, well, maybe we should call the FBI here. No one said maybe we should call the local. No, just go ahead and deliver it right on its way to Mr. Brennan there. Do you see why I have a problem with this? Do you see what's suspicious about this to me? I get it. Okay, a bunch of packages that didn't explode have been mailed to people and everybody's having a conniption fit about it. And I get it, but that's the goddamn bomb and nobody in the entire if that came across my thing at UPS, I would have said something. And I'm just blown away by the fact that nobody said anything. I'm just blown away by that. Now I'm hoping that maybe I'm overreacting. Maybe it was a trick. Maybe the stamps that are canceled up there, they look canceled to me, are a trick, and they hand delivered it. But then again, somebody would have seen them on the cameras coming through. All these buildings are federal buildings and heavily guarded Secret Service type buildings and whatnot. Somebody would have seen them come through with that, right? They'd be on camera somewhere. They would have had to check into a building. They didn't just get to the mailroom and go, oh, here's a package for you. Something is bizarre here to me. Something is just strange as all get out about this. And I don't know, I'm sorry it's freaking me out. But that sure looks like, I don't know. Question, is that what it looked like before or after? It's possible that it's open there, but still, I don't know, it looks lumpy to me. What are you going to do? Sorry, that was me, Pat the lawyer. Yeah, Pat's an admin. Sometimes he forgets that. That's kind of funny. So there you go. Back on the submarine days, we had something called a ZARF. ZARF. Right? Zero Angle Retention Facility. And we didn't have fancy hot cups like this. Some guys would bring their coffee cups on patrol, but it wasn't really a wise idea. Some people would bring giant plastic, cups that didn't spill. Phillips 66 used to have these. They looked like pyramids. They were round pyramid things. They would stand and they would stay on and they had the sticky stuff on the bottom, so they would stay on stuff. Well, we had what we called a ZARF, Zero Angle Retention Facility, and we had these round cups that we would put them in. A ZARF is just it's a cup holder with a little bit of rubberized tile around, rubberized cover around it and you stick your cup in there, and then you never fill your cup more than halfway so that the ship takes angles and dangles, it doesn't spill. Apparently Air Force has to have these things with broken handles. I don't know why that amuses me. It just does. It just, and this idea that this has been going on for, see, that's the question I would ask if I were in front of Congress. Oh, why do you care now, Senator? Seriously, can you explain to me why you care now about this as opposed to 35, 40 years ago when the Air Force was paying $683 for the same cup back in the 1980s? It didn't bother you then? Oh, Dave, I wasn't in Congress then. Yeah, but you've been in Congress for how long now? And now it's an issue. I guess it's the whole argument. Well, now I know about it. Now I have to do something about it. Now I must do something because, well, I have to. I guess I could. I guess I can accept that argument, but it's not my favorite. It's not my favorite argument in all of this. It's not the thing that I'm lining up to go, hey, yeah, that's a good idea or that's not a good idea or whatever. But there you have it. The other thing that's really bothering me today is this. I don't know why this is bothering me, but for some reason, we have a commercial that runs on TV around here. You probably have the same one. The family walking out in slow motion in their Halloween costumes, and they're talking about Halloweening. Grown-ups are paying hundreds of dollars to have a consultant pick their Halloween costume for them. Grown-ups, people who are adults, are paying hundreds of dollars to have a consultant pick their Halloween costume for them, to tell them yes, no, maybe, you're okay, whatever, when it comes to your Halloween costume. Hundreds of dollars are being paid for this. Hundreds of dollars are being paid for these consultants to tell you that your Halloween costume is A-okay or not so good or not so hot or whatever. I don't know, man. I guess I live in a different... When did Halloween become a win-lose proposition? I mean, that's the commercial, is that, Halloweening. You are, after all, the mother of dragons, as this woman struts down the sidewalk there with her wand in her hand. I don't even know what the hell she is. I really don't. I can't look at her and go, oh yeah, she's an elf or she's this. I don't know what she is. Some kind of witch or wizard or something. But I know this, according to the commercial, she's Halloweening. I'm like, oh, geez. We have Halloween around here is much different deal than it was in California. In California, Halloween sucked. I'm not picking on California here, but I'm just telling you. In 20 years in California, I never had a good Halloween. Never, ever. I mean, the first couple of years I was there, I bought tons of candy, and I got like 3 trick-or-treaters combined over those entire years. And I thought, well, this sucks. I'm not doing this anymore. And then the one year I wouldn't buy candy, then I'd get, 15. Then I got to the point where I just shut it off. And then I lived in a neighborhood once. I moved to another neighborhood, and that one stunk. And then in Manteca, and I'm not picking on Manteca by any stretch of the imagination, although that was the last place my son's Flat Stanley was seen, and he is missing in action. Be that as it may, those Halloween sucked. I mean, we get the neighbor kid across the street, but that was about it. But here, man, here it is cool. I mean, here parents are out with it, and we were actually talking last year, some of the neighbors and I were actually talking about Halloween for adults, trick-or-treating for adults, and having a system for adults to trick-or-treat, not being in costume, per se. I was reading this story this morning about these women who put together all kinds of serious costumes. Like in 2012, they all went as various forms of Johnny Depp. Then they went as Jim Carrey in the next year. And the next year it was Will Ferrell and so on. And you get the idea. Not doing that, but having trick-or-treat for adults. So we're going to have like a wine table. I don't know how well that'll go over, but I'm seriously thinking about doing that this year. I really am. I'm thinking seriously because my wife is going to be home on Halloween, which is unusual. Our daughter's coming over with our grandkids, at least some of our grandkids. I don't know if it's all of them or not, but anyway, some of our grandkids will be here. Some of our daughters will be here, and so they'll take all the kids trick or treating. I don't have to do that this year, so I can stay home. And I'm thinking seriously about setting up a table out front with some wine and some tequila, and hey, here's something for the adults too. I think it's a good idea. I don't know what anybody else thinks about it, but the problem, of course, is that we went to Walmart the other day and we bought 2 giant bags of fun size candy. You know what that is, right? The fun size candy. So we bought 2 giant bags of that, and it's sitting on the dining room table. And if you were to walk into our house, you would notice that one of those bags is open and already half empty. So that's the drawback. That's the danger of doing this, is that me sitting at a table out in my front lawn with a bunch of booze, that might not go well. Might not happen. It's worth a shot, I guess. It's worth a thought, but who knows? I mean, it's something that I could sit out there with my coffee cup and run inside and heat it up every time, rather than my next door neighbor has a Zarf that he got off one of the boats. I keep trying to talk him out of it. I think it would be cool. I think it would be interesting. It'd be nice to have right here on the edge of my desk, so I don't have to keep. But then again, I lift this thing up so much, and yes, I'm just rambling now because I had a show prepped: spammers, spies, and sodas. We were going to talk about the Facebook thing, where the Facebook data breach was so massive, but it turns out it wasn't really a hack at all. Nobody hacked into Facebook and said, I need to steal all of these people's information. That didn't happen. You gave it to them free of your own will. You said, here's some information, have it. And then we were going to talk about spies, Chinese spies, and how our good friends, the Canadians, are helping them to spy on us, but that didn't happen either. And then we were going to talk about the soda tax, but I guess we'll push that off till Friday. I have no idea what we're going to do tomorrow. Tomorrow's Constitution Thursday. I have no idea. But just because my son is standing over there and he wants to hear about this. The Titanic 2 is finally getting ready to sail in 2022. Apparently there was some kind of financial holdup. The ship is getting ready to sail, and it's going to follow exactly the same route that it followed back in 1912. The new one is going to follow the same route. And I don't know, everybody is I think everybody is a little bit hoping that, come on, everybody hopes just a little bit, right? Everybody says, that would be it would be kind of funny, wouldn't it? I mean, not funny in a ha-ha way. It'd be just kind of creepy. I don't know. Maybe the Chinese are out there with an asteroid, or not an asteroid, an iceberg machine that they're going to push into the way of the thing and sink it. That would be a false flag operation. That would be designed to trick everybody into believing this happened for reasons that taking away our freedom. Kind of like this other stuff. All right, wrapping up the big news story of the day: the bomb threats in New York, San Diego, and Florida. We, an hour later, still don't know nothing except that people are walking behind cameras, which is funny. Completely clueless. They're walking behind stand-up reporters doing stand-up bits, and they got no idea that they're doing them. That's funny. Anyway, we still don't know nothing. I'm still weirded out about the fact that these things got through. Even if they opened the package later on and pulled that out, wouldn't it show up on X-ray? Wouldn't you look at the X-ray and go, that's weird? I don't know. Maybe our mail system is the problem, right? Maybe that's the issue. I don't know. I don't work in that department. It's not my responsibility. I have no responsibilities in this area. So I will sit here and await President Trump's remarks, which will be coming up soon. That's what they keep telling me. Soon. We will hear from President Trump, possibly President Obama, President Clinton, as if any of them have anything to say other than what? Everything's cool. Everything's fine. We're good to go. Who knows? All right, I got to get going. I got parent-teacher conferences today with Ben. That's going to be fun. No, it'll be good. He's a good kid. So we've got that going on. We'll be back tomorrow for Constitution Thursday episode. If you got any ideas, send them to me. 209-565-DAVE. 209-565-3283. Or email dave@thedavebowmanshow.com. My email's working again today. I didn't even know it wasn't working yesterday. I just thought it was weird that I wasn't getting any emails. Turned out it was not working. Now that's fixed, so it's working. So there you go. You can email me again, dave@thedavebowmanshow.com. Message me on Facebook, Twitter. And make sure you download the show, share it from iTunes, give us a rating and a review. That would be really nice. Take the time right now. Tell the people that matter in your life you love them very much. You would miss them if they weren't there, so don't pass up those opportunities. You do not want to have that regret. Plausibly Live, I'm Dave Bowman. This is my show, The Dave Bowman Show. We're here every weekday, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific, and on demand at thedavebowmanshow.com as well as at podcast99.org. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. See you tomorrow.
The Dave Bowman Show is a Slippery Fish Entertainment production for the Podcast 99 Internet Radio Network. For more information or to complain about how the show offended you, the text or voicemail number is 209-565-DAVE. For more information about the show, log on to thedavebowmanshow.com.
Hey, I'm going to go do something productive. I'm going to go watch television.